This video is sponsored by Lolli. Lolli is an extension that you can put onto your browser. Works on Firefox, works on Chrome. You can use it to shop online, and when you shop and use Lolli, you earn free Bitcoin. There's also a game, and don't we all love video games, that you can play through their app called the Daily Stack, where you can earn up to $500 in Bitcoin every single day if you're good at the game. There are over 1,000 brands that use Lolli. Brands like Nike, GameStop, Macy's, eBay that will accept them, and then you get Bitcoin from shopping there. It's very simple. It's very quick. You can do it in 2 clicks and less than 30 seconds, and you'll be right on your way to getting into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and the like. So thank you for Lolli for sponsoring this video. Check them out in the description below. So not that long ago, I made a video about Splitgate, and it was kind of a pretentious title. It was called Splitgate and the State of the Current Multiplayer Sphere, or something like that. And it was basically me just talking about how multiplayer games are incredibly boring to me lately. I tried to play Splitgate and get into it, but I was just struck by the sameness of it when comparing it to Halo, especially some of the older Halos like Halo 3. I was like, why would I not just go and play Halo 3 rather than playing this kind of weird knockoff that just happens to have portals in it? It just didn't make any sense to me. And it really made me wonder, is that because multiplayer games have stagnated so much, or is really that just me becoming bored by the fact that multiplayer games have kind of become all the same? Well, it didn't take very long, but now as we get into the holiday season, we got to get that sweet, sweet holiday cash for those gaming companies. Got to get your grandparents to buy you the latest video game. All these big multiplayer games are starting to roll out. And within a couple weeks of each other, we got 3 major releases all at the same time. That would be Battlefield 2042, Call of Duty Vanguard, and Halo Infinite. Now, there are some caveats there to what's deemed a true release, especially in terms of Halo Infinite. But everybody can play those games, so I'm going to count it as a release. Now, this hypothetically is going to shake up sort of the current gaming field as far as what people are sinking their most hours into. Suddenly there's all these new games that can divide people up, and they can go into their different categories of which game they want to play. I've played all 3 of them, some of them for much longer than others. So this is more of just like a general update to how I feel about multiplayer gaming post-release of these kind of 3 big games. So I started by playing Battlefield 2042. I made a joke video about it when I played the beta, and my feelings in that joke video, now that I've played the actual full release, the final build of the game, are almost exactly the same. The game is busted. The game does not work. They have some interesting ideas. I like that they're trying to build off some of the older games and include that kind of like legacy edition stuff from some of the older games within the current game that they have, but it just doesn't play well. It's a mess. It's broken. There's a lot of things that just don't make sense within it as far as progression and as far as loadouts that you can choose. It's just a mess. It's just not a good game, like, frankly. I can't imagine spending $60 and being like super satisfied with that purchase for Battlefield 2042. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I did not spend $60 to play Battlefield 2042. Through Game Pass, I got 10 free hours to play. I played about 8 of those hours, and I said, I'm good. Call of Duty Vanguard is another game that recently came out. The latest, what is this, Call of Duty 17 or something like that. And a big time shocker, they went back to World War II. Now that's wild. It's the same exact game that they've released over and over and over again, and it has the exact same problems from all the other games. Bad spawns, bad map design, and busted weapons. It's the exact same thing. It takes like 2 days for every single player in every single Call of Duty to find the busted weapon and just use that. Whether it's a busted shotgun, a busted attachment, overpowered STG or MP40s. It's the same exact thing. You think through a beta and play testing and all these things that the developers would realize that the guns aren't balanced at all. But I guess it just takes them actually releasing it and having, thousands and thousands of people playing it to actually find the busted weapons, which is pretty depressing. If you like Call of Duty, I guess you're going to like Vanguard, but it's the exact same game. It's the same thing that I was talking about with Splitgate. It's overwhelming, the sameness of it, and how they continue to release practically the same game over and over and over again. I also made a video a while ago about Call of Duty, about how I have a personal issue with the whole Call of Duty franchise and how they treat war. And especially in Vanguard, they've turned World War II into this like pop culture-y, Steven Spielberg-esque, over-the-top rendition of what World War II was, which obviously is not accurate. I mean, it's a video game, right? I didn't expect them to be hyper-realistic in their depiction of World War II. But it just adds to it. Nobody cares about the campaign anyway, right? Everybody's just playing multiplayer. And really, I think what people care about the most is that they're going to be adding a whole bunch of new content into Call of Duty Warzone, which is the thing that people care about the most. I could not give one solitary fuck about Warzone anymore, but I'm sure for lots of people that's exciting. However, I guarantee you, they are going to have the exact same problem, which is they are going to release all this new content, and half of the stuff is going to be broken. The attachments aren't going to work. It's going to cause all these bugs and glitches and issues, and you're going to be able to fall through the map and kill people while you're invisible. Some gun is going to be way overpowered, and suddenly the meta is going to be all based around that gun, and so on and so forth, and it's going to break the game for 8 weeks, and we're going to get a whole bunch of videos from Call of Duty Warzone streamers talking about how the game is busted, as if the game hasn't been busted 35 other times. But if you're a streamer, you got to milk as much content from that piece of shit game as possible while you can, while it's still like the current hyped up game. So of course you're going to keep on coming back to it, no matter how many shitty fucking videos you make talking directly to the camera. Kind of like me. Anyway, so Vanguard, not good. Maybe you would like it if you like all the other Call of Duties. Kind of like how you probably like Madden if you liked all the other Maddens, or FIFA, or Assassin's Creed, or all those other games where they're just making the same shit over and over again. You're probably the same type of person that like your favorite burger's McDonald's, because you're gonna get the exact same burger no matter where you go to McDonald's, and it's gonna be kind of shitty, but you know what you're getting at least. And then finally, we have Halo Infinite. Okay, this was a surprise release on the 20th anniversary of Halo CE. They just popped that bad boy out there and said, hey, go nuts. You can play the multiplayer early. It is technically in beta release right now, whatever that means. And it's not fully fleshed out in a lot of ways. There's a lot of content that's still coming. You still have your campaign coming out. You have Forge. You have co-op campaign that will come out at a later date. They're kind of releasing it in chunks. One thing that I do really appreciate about how they're doing it, though, is that as they release it in chunks, they're making sure that the game actually works and functions as a game. They took their sweet-ass time with it. Again, if you don't remember, Halo Infinite was supposed to come out when the Xbox was launched. The new Xbox Series S and Series X. That was, over a year ago at this point? So they took their time with it, and they had the delay over and over again, and people were getting upset about the delays, and there was all this stuff with like, oh, the Brute looks really bad in the gameplay trailer, or all these stupid sort of drama things based around it, and news that 343 Studios is shaking it up, and people being all upset about that. There was all these different news stories. But now that the game is actually out and people are playing it, you can see that that time to kind of incubate the game has formed a better game because of it. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that they're not putting out like a half-ass Forge, or a half-ass campaign, or a half-ass multiplayer. They're taking their time and making sure that what they put out there is actually good. We saw what happened when they put out a game that was busted. It was called the Master Chief Collection. It fucking sucked. Okay? It did not work. For literally years, they had to work on it to actually make it a functioning game. And they continue to put in more content and add in Halo Reach and ODST and add in new armors that you can get as a Spartan and all these different things, and have seasons worth of content that they put out just like every other game out there. I appreciate that they put in the effort to stick with it, even though they released a product that was entirely broken. Like, it just did not work. Hopefully they're following that same mindset here with Halo Infinite. There's going to be things that are messed up, right? Right now, the matchmaking, pretty bad. It takes a while to get into a game. Not a tremendous amount of time, it bounces you back to the main lobby between every single game, and you have to click play again. It's just kind of annoying. Rather than just automatically queuing you into another game, that just kind of gets on my nerves. The progression system was probably the thing that people were most upset about. If you purchased the season pass, which I did because I love Halo, and I knew I was going to play it a bunch anyway. The Battle Pass progression system was all based off of challenges that took like forever to try and actually get, and they were kind of a pain in the ass, and the rewards you got from were incredibly slow. So in order to get to all 100 levels of the Battle Pass would have been basically impossible unless you really, really were dedicated and had way too much free time on your hands, basically. But they've added in some changes with that. I think they're going to keep working on it, hopefully, because the progression system was a mess when it first came out. There's also very few options to choose what actual game modes you want to play. They only have a certain number of maps out right now. I'm going to guess, off the top of my head, I think there's 8 maps. Maybe 9, maybe 10, I don't know. Somewhere around there, just off the top of my head. And all these, random types of game modes. But you can only choose, do you want to play quick play? Do you want to play big team battle? That's it. Those are your 2 options. So then it cues you into, capture the flag, and I fucking hate playing capture the flag. Or it cues you into oddball, and oddball also not my favorite game mode. If I just want to play Slayer, that sucks. You have to hope you queue into a Slayer game. That's kind of annoying. I'm sure they'll add in more options and more game modes in general. My favorite type of Halo games are always the kind of random side ones. Like Griffball, Shoddy Snipers, SWAT. Those are the game modes that really are the standout game modes for me, that are the most fun, that I find myself playing the most often. So I'm sure they'll add those in as we get further into the life cycle of the game. But right now, they're just not options, and that's kind of frustrating. Also, some of the stuff with the cosmetics is really annoying, where you have to unlock specific things for specific armor sets. So you unlock like a new visor, and you're like, oh cool, I want to put it on the armor set that I like. And they're like, nah, you only unlock that for that other armor set, and then you can't use it. And it's just like, kind of scummy. They kind of did that in Halo 5 though too. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised. But the thing that is actually good about the game is, the gameplay. It's smooth, it's functional, it's balanced. It has a lot of different systems all working within it to make it fun. Whether it's the power-ups that you can get, things like the grapple shot are probably the standout one, where you can fly around the map, or the bubble shield clone thing where you can set up a little wall. Threat sensor is a fun little power-up you can get that can actually be really helpful if you use it correctly. You got all the different vehicles that you can hop into. You got all these new weapons. I need to watch a video to figure out what the fuck some of these weapons were, because there's a huge amount of new weapons to the series that I had no idea how to use. Some of them are obviously better than others. The Skewer, super fun to use. The Ravager, I wouldn't even bother picking it up if I were you. I'm sure somebody out there knows how to use it better than I do, but not this guy. But they have all these new systems built into the game, these new weapons that make it fun. And they just work together. They're balanced all together to make it work. But I think the thing that stands out the most with Halo is that it's not following that design philosophy where you're putting something out that's half-baked and you're trying to patch it as you go along. Imagine building a boat and you throw it out into the lake, but it's only half built, and you're frantically trying to nail new boards onto your boat and trying to patch any of the holes, and you're trying to put up the sail so that you can drift out further into the lake. That's what a lot of these game companies do. That's what Battlefield 2042 is. Halo is slowly building tiny boats and putting them out one by one. But those tiny boats are well constructed. They're pieced together well. And then, eventually, you will have a Halo armada of boats, which is, an actually full fleshed out game that hypothetically would be worth $60. I appreciate that's how they're doing it, and that they're kind of taking their time with it. And I'll wait. I'm fine playing what they have out right now. And if I get bored of it, I can just hop onto something else until that new content comes out, and then I can jump back into Halo Infinite. Anyway, I think I'm mostly just fanboying about Halo. I do have a Halo tattoo. I am kind of a fanboy. It is my favorite game franchise, so that's part of it. But I do think what they're doing is really solid, and I appreciate it, and it's great. And you should play it if you haven't already. It's free. So that's cool. Anyway, bye.